All right, well, welcome everyone to the Career Collaborator Virtual Learning Series. Today we have our director, Dr. Patrick Madsen, who's going to be talking about all of the different internship programs that are available to students, all the different learning opportunities that students can take advantage of. Get your questions ready. There's going to be time for Q&A. Feel free to raise your hand and also put questions in the chat as we go through the topic today, and I'll monitor that. We're so glad to have Patrick. He is usually the one who leads us in our very first session in fall. So thank you so much, Patrick, for being here. And I will hand it over
Yeah.
to you.
So I'm very glad to be here with you guys. I'm going to say really quick that my internet is weirdly spotty today in my office here. So if you see me suddenly freeze, I'll be right back after I unfreeze. All right, not a pause, but a freeze. So what we have here today is a conversation around internships. So what I thought I'd do is I'm going to walk you through a very quick slide deck that will show you what internships actually are and are not, right? What we've been doing on this campus from even before my time, and some of the cool things that we've been working on that we'll be building out in the future to give our students more opportunities to get that internship. And then I'm also going to talk about the experiential learning report that we started now 2 years ago. We have 2 cycles of data in there, and it's a really cool opportunity for you to see the data that we've been able to collect on what students are doing or not doing based on the information that we're able to find. So internships, it's a component of the Charlotte model, and you're going to hear more about that moving forward. But what we believe at this university is that every student should have access and the opportunity to do an internship before they leave us, whether you're an undergrad or a graduate student. And now the goal, the vision is to make that happen. Because what we know about this idea of internships or experiential learning, they're interchangeable words, is that it's a wicked problem. But really quick, to start us, here's a formal definition from the National Association of Colleges and Employers. So Suzanne and I and all the career people that are across campus, this is what we're using to define what this darn thing is. And essentially it comes down to this. They're using the skills that our faculty are providing them in the classroom, the knowledge and those skills in the workplace in some form or another. That's an internship. So when we start to look at all the wonderful things that I see you all do in your programs, outside your programs, a career center does, undergraduate research, study abroad, all of those things, they can fall under this particular definition. And this is important because, back in the day, an internship was very much a one thing, one size fits all. Today, it cannot be that. And we'll dive into that a little bit in just a little bit. So I'd mentioned that this is what I call a wicked problem. So a wicked problem is that there are so many variables involved that there's not one way to find that solution. But we do know that there are 3 things that students need based on all the research from the past 20 years plus. I'm sure there's a lot more research than back in the day before I've been doing this. All the research, all the employers, all the things that Suzanne and I and the team always collect, they say this. One, students who do internships are 4 times more likely to succeed post-graduation than those who choose not to. 4 times by Gallup. This was something that was done a few years ago, but they keep seeing very similar results moving forward. This is a particular quote that I tell every single group that I'm a part of during orientations every summer and beyond. I let them know that the choice is yours. If you choose to do this, you are 4 times more likely to succeed. And the reason is because employers want those who can prove they can do something, right? Book knowledge is one thing, but applying it is a whole other thing that our employers say. Second thing is students need social capital. They need to create this network, this professional network during college, during these experiences. This is how they're going to be doing that because this is where they're going to find that hidden job market. We all know this concept, the hidden job market. More jobs are not posted versus they are posted. And so we need students to realize that you got to get off your ticker talker devices. You got to get that phone away from your face, and you actually have to talk with humans. And internships, whether they're virtual or otherwise, they help students do this. And so we want to encourage them to do these experiences. And I might even say that part-time jobs and full-time jobs, those help in those kind of human networking sorts of skills. And then the third thing that they need is they need not just career skills, the durable skills that we talk about, that NACE talks about, but they also need like industry specific skills. And what we know about the two, so career skills like communication, teamwork, the things that all of our faculty and all of our staff across campus are teaching these students Those take time to develop. You can't just take a class on leadership and then magically you're a leader, right? You have to learn about the concepts and then practice it over time. So those career skills take a little bit of time to really hone in and develop. The industry specific skills are things like Java or graphic designing. Those are things that you can learn and immediately start applying. But the thing that we notice is that this half life of those types of skills are constantly churning. You think about AI and some of these things, they're constantly churning. So we're teaching students that, yes, what you learn right now, you're going to have to educate yourself and learn to learn that next skill that's coming down the pipeline. So these three things, internships can help them understand how to do that. So let's talk about what we already have going on in this campus. So believe it or not, Hire Niner, if you haven't heard of that, it's go to our website. It's the portal that we've been using for 10 plus years. This is where we post all jobs and internships. For the past 3 to 4 years, so COVID kind of messed everything up, as you guys might have realized, um, our system has in it more than 8,000 to 10,000 posted jobs or internships and co-ops each year. They're in there. Nationwide opportunities, not just the Charlotte and North Carolina region, although that's our bread and butter because that's what our university is about. But this actually surprised us a couple of years ago when all of a sudden it was 8,000 plus internships and co-ops posted in our system that our students are paying attention to. So that was really cool. So that's been going on. Now, the one thing I'll notice about internships is the Career Center doesn't control internships. Employers do. So if we start to see markets and economy kind of doing its thing, we're going to see the corresponding internship posting as that goes on as well. So back in the Great Recession time when I was at a different university, this was a big concern. It was, well, there are no internships because employers can't handle them right now. The other thing that I think is really cool on this campus, and it's an area that I'm hope to really build out before I get the honor of retiring, is the curriculum integrated experiences. And so a few of our programs on campus, less than I would like, literally have experiential learning internships built into their curriculum as a requirement before they graduate. And so you look at things like social work and some of those ones that it's probably based on their accreditation. That's really cool. That's like the holy grail, if you will. And so for my academic programs that are on the call today, I'm going to talk about how we can help you think through that, how we can help integrate things and find a pathway to send our employers to these types of opportunities. Our engineering program, of course, they have senior design and a few other programs have similar concepts. That's that integrated thing as well that really makes sure that students are getting that experience. And then the three other programs that we've piloted in the past couple of years and or are starting. So one is this community internship program. So what we have found is that we have a great amount of federal work study money laying on the table. And we have some wonderful employers who have provided us funding to really make sure that we can take all those nonprofit opportunities that tend not to have money for their internships and make that connection between funding and students doing internships in our community. And so this was a program that we started last spring, and it was basically matching students with internships in the nonprofits. Interesting note is we didn't have as many students apply to it. I mean, these are internships, but we had over 150 community-based internships that were developed just like that. We have nonprofits knocking down our door. So it's an interesting thing. So we're going to be working on the how do we tell students, please apply to an internship if you want an internship. And by the way, it's paid. It's right here. SecU is a grant that we've been blessed to have the past few summers. We're hoping, knock on wood, that we get it in again next summer. This is the State Employees Credit Union, and they provide a block grant funding for summer internships in the community. And so that's something that's been going on as well. And then a really cool program that we just got off the phone earlier this week that we're starting to design, my colleague Amy Browns and I, is what we call the internships at Portal. So the Portal building has a ton of employers that are in there. And then in that particular area, they have some internships and they have some micro internships. And so we're going to be building a program around this to help drive our students to those opportunities as well. I mean, they're literally right across campus, which makes it that much easier for students to get to. We found from the research that students that work and intern on campus tend to do a little bit better than those have work off campus for what it's worth. Some of the campus-based things that we have and going on that. So we've had the UPIP program for longer than I've been here. I want to say it's 12, 13 years old now. And this is a university internships on campus. And so Our previous provost, Dr. Joan Lorden, funded this program to really help our campus partners build out internships. And then our office and your office pay half and half to fund these students. And it's been a very popular program that we hope to get more funding to because we only have limited funding. We've been stretching it as much as we can. But that's a great program that has been working fabulously. And I'm going to talk about some different caveat ways that we're going to try to expand that with the funding that we currently have. In my 10 years of being here, I've been tracking our campus employment, which ones are just part-time jobs versus those that are internship quality positions, and then those that are what I call advanced level. And so a few years ago, Dr. Brad Yeckley, who's over in the entrepreneurship area, and I really did this scope and analysis of all campus employment. And you figure we got about 4,000 to 5,000 students that work on campus, right? How do we make sure that all of those positions get to that internship quality experience? That's pretty cool. And when we talk about like what goes into an internship, it's not just do work for me, but it's do work, build those skills. You have this great supervisor slash mentor. And oh, by the way, we got some professional development to help you get to that next level and really use that position that you had to get that full-time career related job that you're hoping for. So that's something that we've seen a great increase in positions, kind of flipping that switch to make it an internship quality. So I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more on that. Now, our Office of Undergraduate Research, they, for those of you who know them, research internships, man, they've got a good block of funding, and they've got maybe 200 plus internship research internships each year. And those are that faculty matching sort of program. So I encourage you to, for those students, or for those of you who want to try to build out that's a great avenue for you to look at as well. Now, the gig program, this is actually one of my favorite programs, and I've been thinking about it for years upon years. And, it's just now we're at this point where we were able to like just get it going. So this started piloting maybe 3 semesters ago. So this is our 4th semester in this fall. And what we notice from our student data and then just the trends in the world in terms of what our students are experiencing in their own college career is that many of our students, like me back in the day, have to work 1 or 2 jobs just to pay for college. And they don't, mine was Kmart, by the way, just in case you guys remember Kmart in a frame shop, right? And it has nothing to do with what I do now, but I learned some really cool skills off that. So our students are working and they're in this position where it's like, gosh, I can't give up my job that pays me $20 an hour to do possible unpaid or paid internship that might be short term and then hope that I get my job back. You see their dilemma here. And so we recognized that. We said, you know what? We understand the world that you're in, and we now collect data on who works while they're in college, by the way. And we have some fantastic information that gives us that picture, not just assumptions. And then we also notice that there's a lot of opportunities out there that are not at the level of an internship, meaning, hey, Patrick, I don't have enough work for 10 weeks. I just have this really quick data analysis project. I need somebody who's got some expertise just to get me over that hill. Those are gigs. So we take now these projects that are no more than 40 hours total, and the student needs to have the expertise, right? Because you're not necessarily going to be teaching them. They have to know how to do data analysis or graphic design or whatever it is that you need. And we have students who want to do that and get paid for it. And guess who pays for it? Us, right? So these gig matching sorts of things we started piloting. And so the first few semesters, we started with 20 to 40 gigs. We had more than 100 gigs that were applied, if you will, or sites, both nonprofits and campus employers. And this last semester, we had for like 40 gigs, over 1,000 students apply. So we know we hit gold on something. And so now our goal is to find more staffing bandwidth so that we can actually match more because we have the funding. We just need to get more humans to process the paperwork, right? And so we start to see those kind of things. But we know it's a success. We know students want it. And how cool is it that they get a up to 40-hour a week project, short-term experience on their resume to prove that they're doing these things. And then 2 other programs, both of them that I've been piloting, is what I'm calling our curated programs. So virtual internships, it's a vendor, virtualinternships.com, and all this stuff is on our website. We partnered with them to provide global virtual internships that are unpaid, but they're part of a credit-based course that we've created. And what this program does is they have these global firms that are looking for interns. We match them. They go through interviews. They go through a huge profile. They have a career coach along the way. And then they have our team. And this has been hugely successful. So right now I am closing up the application. We have 40 seats this fall for an H2 course, 8-week course, and I had more than 250 applicants. And so it's working. Students are loving this sort of thing. And how cool is this for, again, if you're like me working at Kmart and you can only do virtual and you can do it whenever you can fit it in and you're getting an internship, that's not bad at all. And again, if for those who are looking for a 2 credit hour extra for their, their semester, we're good to go. The other one is called Ripen, and you can Google that and learn a little bit more about them. So the School of Professional Studies and us, the Career Center, have been piloting over the past couple semesters, and our chess friends as well now for this fall semester, using Ripen to connect employers to the classroom. So some project-based learning that we're all familiar with. But then also what the Career Center is going to be piloting in the spring, during the night when the only hours I have left in my day, right, is creating what we're calling group internships. And so this is going to be very much like the virtual internship program, but for group internships. And so you'll have like 2 to 4 students per internship working on a team, getting that skill as well as getting experience as well. Let me check in real quick. Suzanne, am I frozen? Am I okay? Okay, good. So that one's going to be really cool. So both the virtual and the Ripen is going to give us the ability to expand quick, even if the economy does a little fluctuation over the next 10 years. And so this is our way of making things very sustainable as much as we can. So those are some of the programs that are already here, that we've been baking in. We've got a lot of different channels to meet our students where they are. Now we have to track it. And no university, to my knowledge, and Suzanne, you tell me if you've seen anything like this, I don't know, has been tracking a university of our size. Let me say that. Now, if you have a university of 500 students, you can do that in one day. We now track, this is our third iteration of this starting on Monday, because we got fall census almost done. We're tracking all juniors and seniors, and now with our partners in the graduate school, graduate students, to figure out who did something with experiential learning and who didn't. And that's what we're calling the EL report. So basically, this is what this looks like. This is a process that is a year long, from fall census until end of June. With July, the report is out there, and the report's out there for you to look at, and I'll show it to you in just a second. But the timeline looks like this. We get the fall census, and so that's the snapshot in time of the students that we're going to be tracking, juniors and seniors. And why we do juniors is because at the end of the year, we should be able to see which students we have no knowledge on or haven't gotten anything yet, and we can hyper personalize our communication to them to say, you've got one more year. Look at all these wonderful programs that we're going to let you know about, so you can choose to do an internship before you leave us. So you see how we're kind of using that data. So we scrub the data. So we take all the data we collected last year, update it so we can, continue to find that's going on. We have a team, many partners across campus now, and I appreciate them, who help us look on LinkedIn to see if we can find anything about internships or working while they're in college, so we can check those boxes. And then, of course, a lot of our partners like Study Abroad and others, they do their own collections for their programs, and we integrate their data into this one report. And then towards the end of or July of every year is when the dashboard is updated, so people can look at it. And when you get the chance to look at the dashboard, there's a couple things that I want you to realize. One is we call it the discovery rate. Just because it might say 80% students in accounting program reported having an internship, that doesn't necessarily mean 20% didn't. It just means we literally cannot find any information from that 20% students. So we call it the discovery rate. And this is a great opportunity that any of you who collect information or want to join us in this, you might have knowledge on that 20% that we just cannot find because they have no LinkedIn, they're not responding to our surveys, they're not coming into the office, they're not talking to anybody, and that's human nature. So that's what those percentages are about. When you look at the Tableau dashboard, you can drill down from total to college to academic department to junior to senior, and of course, graduate students. So you can start really seeing some really good information that might be there. Like I said, we have 25 plus data points so far that we use to collect this information. And we're always looking for other data that might be out there so we can add it to our calendar to ask you guys to provide it to us to make this even better as well. So I'll show you that what that dashboard looks like in just a little bit. So collaborating with different units, there's an opportunity here in terms of how we can continue to expand. And I'm going to keep using the word sustainable, meaning we have to create structures that can survive me retiring, Suzanne retiring, and complete turnover. We don't want the one-offs because that tends to not work too well. So some of the things that we have is, again, the campus employment. So if you want to join the effort, contact me and we can start making some of these positions more internship quality. I will say that you're going to notice that we have what's called Coursera Career Academy, and it's now available. These are micro credentials that students can jump in self-paced, and we're actually going to start using those as an opportunity for our campus partners to say, hey, I have these 10 student workers. I want them to take one of these professional development modules while they're working with me as just part of their professional development. Now you're going to be able to do that, and we're going to be able to track how they finish them, and you'll be able to track them as well. We're going to be looking at how can we take things like Ripen or virtual internships or what we call Career Forage, and you can look at that at our website as well, and integrate these micro simulations and real world projects into things like our first year courses, the capstones that you all have, and otherwise. And so that's a really cool opportunity. And it takes a little time because I want to, help faculty feel comfortable with it. We want to make sure that it's placed in the right way that makes sense for a discipline-based experience as well. But a lot of these are very much plug and play, and they're ready to go. And so, for example, our first year courses, you could go in there and say, well, one of your homework assignment students is to go into Career Forge and do one of those simulations and pull down the I did it, certificate at the end. Done. That's how you can do that. Data collection, we're going to continue to expand that and learn more from that data. And then what we want to start do is starting to figure out how can we collaborate with all the other units or departments, I should say, that really want to make internships integrated into the curriculum. And the reason that we can do that and also with colleges is if we can create structures that make it super easy for the employer team and the career center to take employers who have interest and get it to the faculty who really want it as easy as smoothly as possible in a certain time frame, then we have something. So at another university, I worked at a business school, and we did that. We had structures in place where we can quickly get it to the faculty. They can integrate it, and the employers don't feel like they're being dropped off because nobody's responding. And so that's how we can start to support you. So Suzanne and I and our team are here to help you look at your curriculum and to say, what is it you're trying to accomplish? How can we actually help? Where can we position it? And how can we create those structures so that we can make sure that that the employers are getting to your department and or to your faculty? So sustainable structures, one, all of us have got to help students understand why they should do an internship. We make assumptions because we're all higher professionals that everybody wants an internship. Everybody loves it, but there's still a percentage of students that think that, well, I don't really need one, or that's not for me. And it might surprise you, but it's kind of normal. That's just how college students are. So when you're, as faculty, as staff, when you're talking with students around this kind of concept, let them know the return on investment. This is that wicked problem that I told you about. They're getting skills, they're getting hidden networks. That's how you find jobs, then rather than throwing your resume out into the wind, hoping that an employer loves you. We're going to continue to find even more channels to offer ways for students to get experience. And like I said, we love to integrate this. If we can integrate it, man, it makes all of our jobs that much easier, especially when if the economy ever gets shaky on shaky grounds. And again, I keep saying that because I learned that during the Great Recession, we had to create structures knowing that recessions happen. That's just part of life. And all of this is about industry and university structures as well. So I'm a big believer that universities have strengths, and I love this little clip that I found. I share it with employers as well. University, we have our strengths, employers have theirs, and if we can find that way to partner together, then suddenly we are making sure that our students are up on the skills that are needed for the next 5 to 10 years instead of right now. Our students are getting practice in the classroom where they have a great faculty member, for example, kind of mentoring them and guiding them through some of these things. And employers see the value of hiring our students because at the end of the day, we want our students to have that career success and feel like they're doing something with their degree. And our next destination survey shows that you know what, they're doing very well. So really quick, I just want to do some shout outs to people that have really helped with the EL report and otherwise. So, definitely our LinkedIn scouting partners out there, they're fantastic. Our Career Center, of course, I'm always going to say they're fantastic because you know what, they are the best in the nation, and I tell everybody around the nation that. One IT team, their expertise created this dashboard and made it amazing. I mean, it's quite pretty, and all of you who've been sharing data with us along the way. So that's kind of that. Now, really quick, let me show you two things from the website, and then I'd love to open it up for any questions that people have. Bear with me as I look around, and I'm so surprised. Now I'm going to say it out loud. I'm so surprised my internet is working. Shh, don't tell the internet. It's gonna have this thing. All right. So when you go to the Career Center's website really quick, go to students and then intern gain experience, you're going to be able to see all this information, all the programs that I've talked about, and even others that exist out there. So that just in case you want to read up a little bit more about it and or show it to your students, they're all right here, everything that we're building. And then the other thing is when you go to our about and then data, you'll see the experiential learning data collection page. So this gives you a whole picture of how we got here, how we're collecting the data, the process that we take, and of course the results are right here. The fantastic dashboard, including how you read it too, because it does take a second just to understand what is it that I'm seeing, right? What does this mean? And so what I've done is I've done the best that I could to make it as easy as possible for you to understand some of the definitions as we've created. Again, this is the first to my knowledge, university doing this. This is our second year or going into our third. So we're learning something every single year. So if you got some cool ways that I haven't thought of or new data that's out there, I would love to collect anything that you got.